How's it going, guys? We tried to do a live Raw review last night, and there was a lot of comments on it. So apparently, some of you got to see it, but it never processed and turned into a regular video, at least not yet. So, I mean, we might try to do those to the point where we'll start it like 5 minutes after Raw. So if you want to watch it like that, you can. And then if it never posts, I guess I'll just do one Monday morning or something. I don't know. But so yeah, here's our, for those of you that didn't see the live one, Raw review for August 20th, 2012. The show starts off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. You know, they come out, obviously, they're going to be pumped about beating Triple H because one does not just simply beat God. You know what I'm saying? So it was a big accomplishment. They come out, they're patting themselves on the back like, hey, we told you guys. But then they call out Scott Armstrong, and you're like, oh man, is Brock Lesnar going to beat down Scott Armstrong? And Armstrong sold the "I am terrified" brilliantly. So he comes out to the ring. And they're just kind of looking at him, and Brock's like, "Come here." He just puts his hand on his thing. And he's like, "Good job," and that's it. I'm like, "Whoa, well, situation averted." But yeah, and then Paul Heyman goes on listing all the things that Brock is the new King of Kings. He is the Lord of the Brocktagon. He is this. He is that. He is doing all this stuff. But basically but um, they they were smart because while they were building, I mean, they just talked. Triple H is such a warrior. He is this and that, and whether that's Triple H said go say that, or they were just doing it to say it. I mean, it ended up being okay because then it's like, yeah, Triple H is all those things, and Brock Lesnar beat him, so it made him look even like a bigger deal. But that was the end of that segment, and then later we see a tout from Brock Lesnar that basically says he's accomplished everything he wanted, he's done, he's leaving for good. So take that for what you will. First match of the night was six-man tag, Kofi, Truth, and Sin Cara against the Primetime Players and Cody Rhodes. I was on Team Heel here because I don't really agree with the three faces over there. I don't like them personally, but it was about what you would expect for a six-man tag match. You've got the tag team feud going on and the singles feud between Cody Rhodes and Sin Cara. Cody Rhodes ends up getting the upper hand on Sin Cara, but then instead of going for the pin or the crossroads or something, he tries to rip Sin Cara's mask off. Sin Cara counters into a roll up, 1, 2, 3. Sin Cara pins Cody Rhodes. So is this feud gonna culminate at Night of Champions, or is it just gonna keep going and end on like a Raw or a SmackDown? I don't know. I like Cody Rhodes, so I hope Cody Rhodes starts getting some victories, but we'll see. Then you get AJ and David Otunga back. Congratulations for returning David Otunga after filming your movie with Halle Berry. And he's basically like, listen, if you need my assistance, I would file a lawsuit the second someone called you crazy. And then AJ, of course, doesn't like that word. So she said, hey, you can offer your assistance in the ring later tonight against an opponent of my choosing. So we'll see what happens there. And then we went back to the old days of Ryback against two dudes nobody cares about. But there was Swerve. They went through the whole thing. He had him up for his finisher. Jinder Mahal interferes and knocks him down. And I'm like, whoa, they're doing something different? This is crazy. And then Jinder actually says, come a clutch. Puts it on Ryback, but Ryback powers out because he is a monster. And then he clears Jinder out and ends up still knocking out the two dudes that were in the ring. So this was the second match of. This was rumored to be on SummerSlam. There wasn't enough time, so here. So yeah, and there was another one of those later too. But then you get Dolph and Jericho backstage, and Dolph's talking about how he needs a rematch because good job Jericho, you finally won one, but you can't beat me again, all that kind of stuff. AJ comes skipping in like, listen, I know you both want a rematch, but let's raise the stakes. Your WWE contract, Chris Jericho, gets your Money in the Bank contract, Dolph Ziggler. Loser loses their respective contract. So they added something to it. We'll talk about more of that when the match actually happens. AJ was on this show a lot now I think about it because the next segment was Del Rio coming out, aggressive Del Rio. He was pissed. Comes out talking about how he wants a world title match. And AJ again comes out, says, I don't control the world title picture. That's Booker T's job, but I can give you an opponent for tonight. Oh, I knew it was going to be Orton, and I was so happy. Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio. Before the match starts, Sheamus comes out on commentary, which makes sense because this is kind of all about the world title picture. Del Rio actually gets the advantage in this match, hits the backstabber. It looks like he's about to win. Gets the 2 count. Orton's foot on the rope. Sheamus, the irony of Sheamus screwing Del Rio by pointing out what Sheamus got away with last night at SummerSlam. Um, so yeah, that was kind of it made sense at least. And then Del Rio turns around, catches an RKO, 1, 2, 3, and then Sheamus kind of looks at Orton like, eh. Orton's like, I'm way too much of a gangster to thumbs up back to you, Sheamus. I don't agree with you. But yeah, so I just want Randy Orton versus Sheamus, but I don't want them to turn Sheamus heel for a face Orton. I want a heel Orton to face Sheamus. But then again, people still aren't going to cheer Sheamus over Randy Orton, so I don't know what to do. But I just don't want to see Del Rio Sheamus anymore. Is basically what I'm getting at. And then in our third and final installment of matches that were supposed to be on SummerSlam but didn't have enough time, Brodus Clay versus Damien Sandow. I don't know. I mean, Damien Sandow wins this match, so I was pumped about that. But then afterwards, Brodus Clay attacks him, hits the splash, dances with little kids, and it's like, if this is really gonna be a feud, and they're all this animosity, why give And again, this is coming from someone who definitely likes Damien Sandow a lot more than Brodus Clay. I don't know that he needed to win clean the first go around if they're gonna build this into something, but I don't know. So maybe it'll keep going because of the attack after. I don't know, but I'm cool with the Sandow one. I'll accept that. And then we got Shawn Michaels via satellite. Now listen, I love Shawn Michaels, but if we're gonna talk crap on The Rock via satellite, you better talk. I'm just kidding. This is a totally different situation, but this was just so boring. He needs to take via satellite lessons from The Rock. Like, there's a difference between I'm trying to get my point across. This is a sad time, and I feel for my buddy. But it was just like dragged on and on. It's like, stop. It's just so boring. Like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it was just so boring. It was like too much. Because at first you're like, okay, he feels bad for his buddy. It's his best friend. He's like, I've been through this. You know when it's over. But then I was just like, and the only reason I'm not going to complain about this segment is because it's proved everything we've ever said about Triple H. It's all about him. It's all about Triple H. Everything feeds into his ego. So anybody that was like, oh, well, he did the job for Brock. It wasn't even about Brock. Like, we're not even going to remember. We're just going to remember it as, oh, it's Triple H's last match, maybe. You know what I mean? But, and then we get David Otunga's match. He called her crazy, so he gets the Big Show. And the Big Show squashes him quickly, which sucks because I don't like the Big Show and I love David Otunga. But don't call the GM crazy. And then Big Show was griping about when's he going to get a one-on-one match for the title, which unfortunately makes sense. I don't want to see it per se, but I mean, at least it makes sense. And then we get the 2-hour main event. Zack Ryder and Kane against Daniel Bryan and Miz. The basis here was they're putting Kane and Daniel Bryan with partners that they've had issues with in the past, sort of like an anger management test. And Team Miz and Bryan ended up, they're dipping out. They're gone. And they left Zack Ryder and Kane in the ring. And Zack Ryder eats a choke slam. Hello and goodbye. The return of Zack Ryder. Choke slams ensue. And then Kane goes crazy. And then AJ ends up saying she's going to put Daniel Bryan in counseling, anger management classes or something. I'm like, okay, so we'll see where this goes. Yeah. But then we get number one contenders Divas Battle Royal. And my goodness, all the heavy hitters were there. All 7 Divas. But, Caitlyn ends up winning this, which is surprising because Layla is a face and Caitlyn is a face. So is one of them going to turn heel, or are they just going to do the whole face thing? I'm cool with whatever. I really don't care. In our live review, I compared this to like if I picked a favorite NASCAR driver and that NASCAR driver won a race, like because I wanted Caitlyn to win, but it's like I wanted her to win, but I don't care. It's like Jimmy Johnson's my favorite NASCAR driver, and he wins a race. I don't feel any better about my life. And if he loses, I don't feel any worse. That's how this was. I wanted her to win, but I don't really care. And then we get Dolph backstage with Vicky, and Dolph's just focused. Vicky's like, "You got to win this for me. This is important. You're my client." Da 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 da. Dolph's like, "No, I need this one for me." So I thought that was cool. Then we get to the match, contract versus contract. Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho. Not as good as the SummerSlam match, but they didn't get as much time, and you kind of knew where this was going. So, but Dolph Ziggler ends up getting the win clean over Jericho. Hits a zigzag 1-2-3. So Jericho rides off to the sunset after a loss and a beatdown of Dolph Ziggler. Grabs the briefcase, hits him a couple times, hits a code breaker, and he's on his way out. Chris Jericho turns heel. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, so I don't know how long he's going to be gone, but hopefully not too long because WWE needs Chris Jericho. It's like Jericho, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar all leave after, they all leave for however long tonight. So it's like, oh, we're back to, this stuff again. But shout out to Dolph getting a big win. Hopefully by the time Jericho comes back, Dolph Ziggler is the champion. And then the third match for the title. Think about it. Then we get to the main event. CM Punk coming out to name his number one contender for his title. And he goes straight to Jerry Lawler. And Jerry Lawler, he's talking about, you need to apologize because I did not turn my back on the fans and you went too far there. But before they really got anything, John Cena's music hits, he runs out, which played in perfectly to Punk's gripes because then Punk was like, I told you earlier in the night that you were going to be the guy under one condition and you still have to come out and interrupt me and steal the spotlight while I'm handling business with Jerry Lawler. And Cena's just like, yeah. So they get in this talk, and CM Punk's like, all you got to do is say that I'm the best in the world. And then Cena goes on this promo that, a lot of people don't like John Cena, so, they're not going to give him credit where credit's due, but it was a good promo. It made sense. He was talking, it was decently long, but it made sense. You know what I mean? If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. It made sense. So he basically says, I'm not going to do that because, I have to believe I'm the best. So then he talks about The Rock. He planted the seeds for The Rock rematch. Like, oh, great. But, yeah, but this made sense. He's like, I'm not going to do that. So you can find someone else, and he leaves. So Punk never officially says, okay, it's me and you, but it's going to happen. It's in Boston. I already predicted that Cena's winning the title at Night of Champions like a month ago, but yeah, so, and then he goes straight back to Lawler, and Lawler comes in the ring, and Lawler's like, listen, I didn't mean to disrespect, but I do apologize if that's what you want. And then CM Punk's like, good. And he kicks him in the head. Kicked in the face. And he lays out Lawler, and the show ends with people booing CM Punk, which I guess is what we're looking for. So shout out to CM Punk for getting the crowd to boo him, even if it means kicking Jerry Lawler, who I really don't like, so I was like, yes. But that's the show. Again, if you saw our live one, we might do those just because it's quicker, and we'll start give enough people that want to watch it like that, so you don't have to wait 20 minutes to film and 15 minutes to process. So you can just watch it like that, and then I'll film another one in the morning for those who didn't. That's might be how we do it from now on. But go ahead, subscribe up above, like this video, comment below all your thoughts on Raw. See you for a Q&A later this week, or not giving championships.